14 seats in southern Karnataka's old Mysuru and coastal regions are going to polls in the second phase of the Lok Sabha polls on April 26th. To get a better understanding of the political dynamics in Karnataka, I spoke to our data expert Amitabh Tiwari in the poll science segment for you. This is NDTV's new segment on data that brings you numbers that will help you make better sense of the Lok Sabha elections of 2024. Welcome to Poll Science. This is where we help you with numbers and data that's important to understand Lok Sabha elections of 2024. There was one state that dominated phase 1 of elections. It was Tamil Nadu. But phase 2 is a lot about Karnataka, as 14 seats of the state will vote on Friday and the rest in the third phase. There are 28 seats in all, and in 2019, the BJP won 25 of them, reducing the Congress just to one seat. But the Congress party, riding on the promise of guarantees, managed an impressive win in the assembly elections of 2023. The BJP this time is heavily banking on the Modi factor to swing votes in its favor, and also relying on the JDS to transfer its votes to some of its key constituencies. It's a bipolar contest this time. But what do numbers exactly say? Let's get in our political commentator and also our data expert, Amitabh Tiwari, on this. Thank you, Mr. Tiwari, for being here. Explain to us, how does the Modi factor work in Karnataka? In 2014, the BJP won 17 seats, but the tally went up to 25 in 2019. And this is despite the Congress being in power then, and also in an alliance with JDS. Of course, the parties did fight separately.
Yeah, so if you look at the numbers, in 2019, 1 out of every 3 voters of the BJP nationally voted for BJP because of Prime Minister Modi. This number was 1 out of every 2 in Karnataka. So while the national average for the Modi factor is 32%, was 32% in 2019, it was 53% in Karnataka. So the Modi factor is fairly strong in Karnataka. Even in the 2023 Vidhan Sabha elections, 19% of voters voted for BJP because of Prime Minister Modi.
Right. So the Modi factor has an average that's much more in Karnataka. But sir, how do you see the impact of Congress guarantees, be it free bus transport or income support for women, as opposed to the centre's welfare measures? Because, I was looking at some data, be it Niti Aayog data that shows that the state has excelled in aspects of economy or human development. Even the state data says that at least 7 on 10 women seems to have benefited from one of those guarantees.
Yeah, so the implementation of the schemes has been fairly good in Karnataka, except for maybe perhaps the unemployment allowance scheme, which was launched just recently. The state has allocated 50,000 crores for the schemes in the budget. So the women are happy because they are getting 2,000 rupees cash income support, as well as a free bus travel. But it has led to a dissatisfaction among the men. They are not getting the cash doles. Plus, because of this free bus travel, the buses are overcrowded. Now, this has also led to some sort of you can say, a conflict between the poor and the middle class. So most of the beneficiaries are from the poor, SC, ST, Dalits, backwards, etc. However, because of this, there is a 50,000 crore, However, because of this, there is an additional 20,000 crore borrowing which the government has to take, and the fiscal deficit also has increased from 2.67% in 23-24 to 2.95% in 2025. So there is a conflict of sorts. Now, if you speak to the women who have been beneficiaries or who are beneficiaries of the schemes, some of them do intend to vote for the government. However, a section also is mindful of the fact that the benefit of these schemes, if any, will be given to Congress in a Vidhan Sabha election, since this is a national election. Now, there are very competing narratives on the ground. One is a central government beneficiary battle versus a state government beneficiary battle. Congress also somehow has been able to seep this narrative that if Congress does not get the maximum seats, they could, if Congress does not get the maximum seats, their government could be thrown out, which could lead to a stoppage of the scheme. So it's all these narratives
So
which
it's a
are playing
battle of
around.
narratives there. But two traditionally powerful caste groups here, Lingayats and Vokkaligas, they have controlled Karnataka politics for many years. But now the Karnataka scene is very interesting because Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is an OBC Kuruba caste. How will the dominant caste equations play out this election according to your surveys and your analysis? And what will this be vis-a-vis the the OBC caste and also the SC community that too has internal divisions? You have the SC left and SC right there.
Yeah. So BJP has been able to crack the OBC code in the rest of the country, largely north and west, where they have played the dominant caste against the non-dominant OBCs like the Yadavs versus the non-Yadavs. But in Karnataka, somehow they have not been able to crack the code. They have been getting around 70% Lingayat support in Lok Sabha elections, and even amongst Vokkaligas, they got around 40% support in 2019. They hope that the alliance with the JDS will help them to consolidate the Vokkaliga vote further. So they have around 10-15% Vokkaliga support. However, this alliance is also seen as coming together of two dominant communities which have almost 100 MLAs out of the 224. So this automatically leads to a counter consolidation of the Ahinda vote bloc in the favor of the Congress party. So that's a risk of this alliance. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Amongst the SCs, as you mentioned, the SC left have traditionally voted for the BJP, it is said, and the SC right for the Congress party.
Right.
However, we've seen in Kolar that a SC
Yeah.
right candidate, Muniswamy of the
Yeah.
BJP, won, defeating a SC left candidate of the Congress party who has been winning for 6 times perhaps.
Yes.
So all these theories may not really hold on the ground. Conceptually, the SC community is not kingmaker in SC reserved seat. It is the other influential caste
Absolutely,
who determine whether who determine which SC candidate will win. The SC community plays a larger role in non-reserved communities. So that's also something we need to be
Mr.
keep in
Tiwari,
mind.
what does data actually say about JDS transferring votes to the BJP against the Congress and the JDS's own prospects? Because I was looking at your graphs, it's been seen as a weakened force, but it could also likely play a crucial role in almost 16 Lok Sabha seats.
Yeah, so JDS vote share has fallen from almost 20% to 10%. In fact, the best they have done is when they have contested alone. 2019 was the first time when they entered into a pre-poll alliance with any party, and that's the Congress party. So if you see the leakage of vote, because in any alliance, seamless transfer of vote is fairly important. So the pre-poll alliance vote share of JDS and Congress party was above 50%. But in a post-poll scenario, they got only 40% of the votes, which means 10% of the vote in absolute numbers or 20% in relative terms was the leakage. So the leakage was fairly big. Now the alliance with BJP, what happens is that whatever the Muslim support or the SC/ST support JDS had, which weakened further in 2023, may not accrue to JDS. And traditionally, there is a rivalry between the Lingayat and the Vokkaliga community because of the 2008 incident where Kumaraswamy refused to leave the chair for Yedurappa. So we have to see whether the Lingayats vote 100% in favor of the Vokkaliga candidates of JDS, largely Mandya and Hassan, and we have to see whether the Vokkaliga supporters of JDS vote for Lingayat candidates in south, because there are some seats where they have been put up, as well as in the north, North Karnataka, rather the Bombay Karnataka and the Hyderabad Karnataka, where they have significant influence.
So, sir, so the swing and the transfer of votes seems to be the most interesting thing. What would be the top 5 swing seats that we should, keenly be watching? And how do you think this vote transfer can influence the overall outcome? Also, the Muslim, constituting about 13%, is that a factor at all?
Yeah, so with JDS allying with the Congress party, they have lost some Vokkaliga votes to the Congress party. In the 2023 Vidhan Sabha elections, JDS lost whatever support it had amongst the Muslims. So the Muslims are largely with the Congress party in this election. Now JDS hopes to compensate for this loss of Muslim and Kuruba votes also, largely from the Lingayat community vote, which could accrue to it. The top 5 seats where the BJP lost by less than 5% margin could be, I would say, Chamarajnagar, Tumkur, or a Bellary, or even a Bangalore North. Hassan and Mandya also become very important because in Hassan there is a bit of anti-incumbency against Prajwal Revanna, and in Mandya the chunk of the Lingayat voters is pretty strong, is pretty high. So the JDS candidate benefited from the Kuruba and the SC vote in 2019, while this may not transfer significantly back to the JDS candidate. So these are very crucial seats for the JDS also for its prospects.
Thank you, Mr. Tiwari, for all those insights. It's a critical battle there with Modi factor and Modi guarantees on one side and the Congress guarantees on the other. We'll know on June 4th on whose narrative clicked. We'll be back with another state and another important data point tomorrow on Poll Science.